Alrighty. Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening somewhere, that's for sure. Let's see what's going on. Let's see, let's lower that volume just a little bit. Nothing more. There we are. Sounds like I'm there. Yep, there I am. I can hear me. So this is a good thing. Yeah. All right, now we start off with the dollar this morning, as you can see there. Dollar is kind of cruising along on a slow trajectory of action, nothing major. We did see some weekly buys in the pairs trades, like the euro and a dollar and the British pound and a dollar, and we saw some good action in the sense that they I guess there's like dead cat bounces, as we always like to call them on the trading floor. In other words, they just from the inertia itself, and they hit a surface and it's got a bounce. It doesn't have energy like it's lifting or it's got rockets or anything like that. It's just a bounce, just a bing, a boing, that type of thing. And so that's where we stand at the moment. And you can see on Chicago Quant, the first chart, if anybody's new here, we were in a second day of a daily buy right there. We slid into the weekly sell last week. It's fixed. I thought I fixed that already. I'm confused. Remove that drawing. I did that yesterday too. There we go. And we're in a weekly sell in the indice itself. And let's give you a flavor of what that kind of means. It went into a weekly buy. It was in a weekly sell right there for one whole week. Tapped into it, and then we were into a daily buy, so it kind of negated it out. Then you weren't long or short. You just knew one thing: don't be long or short. Then we went into a daily sell, and you couldn't take that because we're in a weekly buy. And then we got into a daily buy with the weekly buy, and then it's guns blazing, baby. In other words, odds are 9 almost out of 10 times. It's like 8.5, 8.6 out of 10 that it's going to do what it says it's going to do. And then it tells you to take a profit up in here or just stop being long for the time being, and there you are. As the weekly continues to go with the upwardly draft, that's because it's above the zero line right there. The histogram is plus, and the green line is plus, and the echo is looking very happy. That's a blue on blue dash line. And it finds a way to keep on going up in value on the daily chart. And every time you get into a daily buy, it finds a way to get higher and higher. And each sell just tells us to take your profits. And a buy, boom. But you don't need a signal to tell you to take profits. If you bought something at 6 and it's at 7, that's a profit. You don't need some line to tell you. It's just that it shows you, like, wake up, take your money. Wake up, take your money. Same thing here. Got a little buy there, and it goes up again. This was cool. We go into the sell, slides down for a couple of days, and then bang, it tries to get into a buy, and boom, right back into that sell again. But you don't take it. You just know not to be long. Not every day do you have to have the position on. Okay, you can be neutral in it. Or Metho 2000. Howdy, Robin. You kind of just remember, markets go up, they go down, they go sideways. And so it's nice to be in the trend. What trend is it? There's an uptrend, there's a downtrend, and there's a sideways trend. And that's what it really comes down to, is being able to identify them, and the trend is your friend. And then you can see here again, back way back in here, did the same thing again. Gets into a buy, and what does it want to do on that weekly buy? It wants to go up. But does it go up straight? Never. Never. It never goes up straight. It has a natural tendency to zig and zag. That's because some are getting long, some are getting out, some are taking profits, some are getting stopped out. There's all kinds of action, ACTION. So where we are today, in a buy twice now. There was a volatility signal with a red and a green, but we slid into the weekly last week. So there's that pressure, and we do see, as I said, we see that on the on the other pairs trades. Now you can see here, this is the J4X. It's provided by DocDow. We have some tools that kind of try to emulate. They do a great job. We call them like the Manhattan tools, after the Manhattan bomb. And hence, because I heard this story from an old physicist who was doing the computations back then, and he was telling me he wanted to learn how to trade options, and him and his son had this desire to learn how to trade options. Both were PhDs. One was a PhD in computer science. He himself was now a PhD in psychology, since he was one of the signers of the warning to the President of the United States about building a bomb and dropping a bomb, that type of thing. So he kind of left physics after the war and went into psychiatry to solve his own problems, I think. He was I'm laughing at it. End result is him and his son tried to learn options. They came to me and I helped him out. And then he told me the story about when Oppenheimer and his boys were sending information to Stony Brook. They had a computer there, a big mainframe like the one at the University of Pennsylvania. The information didn't come in from New Mexico until I guess 10:30, 11 in the morning, because 7 o'clock in New Mexico, they were just getting all the scientists getting their acts together, and then so they would, Oppenheimer would talk to Teller or talk to talk to Fermi, or talk to a couple of different people and running the teams, and then young Feynman, and they would put their calculations together, send it to Stony Brook, and then they would run it on the computer there. And so when these scientists were up at 7 in the morning, it was 4 in the morning in New Mexico, so they had nothing better to do but look at stocks out of the newspaper. So they would run these concepts with Jordan. Missed you there yesterday. How are you? I hope you had a nice weekend. So they would run these computations, and they would use something like this, what I put up on DocDow. That's why I refer to them as the Manhattan indicators, the Manhattan Project indicators. And so it's overlaying different stochastics and moving averages, and in this case here, we use the Hinky-Ashke moving averages on the bars themselves, and you notice they emulate my dots over here. And this is all for free right there. And then you see over here, they'd run two different stochastics, a fast stochastic in the green, which is not that, but we do run a stochastic. It's taking my math and running a stochastic on it, so it has a lot of characteristics of the same. Not as smooth, not as fast, but it works. And then the yellow dash are a slow. No, I don't have anything that does yellow dash. I don't need to, since I've taken stochastics and put it to my secret recipe of, because I've advanced those concepts decades ago, because I was fighting Mr. and Mrs. Higgs, well, they're actually Mr. and Mr. Higgs and Boson, because I was part of the anti-accelerator movement, and I was really unhappy about the Higgs-Boson concept. All they did is refudged atomic theory, adjusted it a little bit, and voila, you got Higgs-Boson. So they like to pretend it was something brilliant, but it's not. All right, from there, you can see, let's go to the euros and show you what I've been talking about. There's the euro. Notice we're in a weekly buy like the dollar index over here on J4X. It's been in a weekly sell. Oh, let's check it out. Here it goes. There's the weekly. There you are. A couple reds there. Actually, it's trying to get back into the buy today. Look at that. This week. But overall, it's been in the sell for about 3 weeks. And the pressure's been on. And for us, we can see it over here on Chicago Quant. You see how it's been just sideways. There's another one of those examples of it goes up in a trend, it goes down in a trend, and it goes sideways in a trend. Okay, so you can see here we are in a daily sell for 2 days. It's been pressing down, but we are in a weekly buy, so we just know not to be long, that's for sure. And there it is right there. Let's make it go all the way down for the fun of it. Like that. There we are. So it's been in the daily sell for a couple days. This is the second day. You can see the weekly has been an uptrend for a couple weeks. And let's see. How come that's not in there? I thought we fixed that before. Fixed that yesterday. Last week it went into a weekly buy. There we are. There we go, and you can see there in the weekly buy. And it did give that little pump up, but it didn't last long. And we jumped in the sell, giving you a warning. And so you're not trapped too bad. And let's see, you can see it did go into the daily buy there. Gave us a little volatility signal there. He jumped up, went into like a 1.5 month high, something like that. That's pretty cool. From there, let's take a look at Great British Pound. See what the Great British Pound is up to. Where are we? Great British Pound. Bingo. There you are. You see the pressure in that yesterday when I also went into a sell, and it did the same thing on that weekly thing. You know, it went into the weekly buy last week. So there was a real attempt to, you know, get some dollar buying going on, but it just didn't seem to survive. You know, I guess, you know, short's got to take profits, long's got to take profits, and that's what makes markets move, is when they go and do that, it puts that direction into it. But notice they never really last long, and that's because it's not the main trend. And that's what our math does. It collects up the main trend. As you can see, this product here had been in a weekly sell all the way to, where's that right there? Let's get British Pound into the Chicago J4X. Right there. Wasn't a weekly sell all the way from the 130 area up in here, and you can see what happens. It finds a way to go down, but does it? You can see it. It goes up there and it goes up there. You know, someone's got to be taking a profit. Someone's got to be covering this, covering that. Hello. Did you see that title I made up yesterday? It was a really fun conversation, even with my little sore voice. What do they call it? Gold CDOs. Was it gold CDO? No, gold CDOs? Something like that. It was really cool. It was like gold oil CDOs. It was a very interesting conversation I had. You know, talking about the collateralized debt obligation crush, you know, what happened that destroyed the markets. And then we got into, you know, I went into my classic Doc, get crazy, you know, my angst, all my frustrations and angst with the fake media not giving information out correctly, that type of thing. Your classic Doc. So anyhow, and anybody who's new here, just be my guest. Ask to see something. We'll stop what we're looking at, honestly, and go look at it. I'm always hungry for new adventures. Go into the unknown. Boldly go where no other trader has gone before. And that's who I am. All right, from there, where am I from there? British Pound, that's right. Yeah, it's feeling that pressure. You can see it's breaking down. And the same thing over there on Chicago Quant. That's my particular, Robin and I's website. Robin and I have almost 100 years of trading. We're members of all the kinds of exchanges and trading on the floors, yelling and screaming and dancing and so forth. And so we have a lot of fun. You know, we're old men now. We get a chance to talk about the markets, not have to listen to the stupidity on Bloomberg and CNBC half the time. They have some smart guys on there. They got some, you know, smart gals on there, and they got some real duds that are out there just talking their book, trying to just sell you something. And keeping the truth away from you, too, at the same time. So, end result is that we get a chance here to talk about the real stuff. So anybody wants to talk about anything, we go and look at it. We dissect it. We take it apart. We try to all learn together. We call this the cyber pit. This is like an electronic trading pit, and that's how it always is in a pit. And there are no stupid questions. There are no dumb questions when it comes to money. There's only long answers or short answers. That's all it comes down to. All right. where do we go from here? Okay, so we got cable put to bed because no one seems to care about anything in there this morning about it. So that's fine. Now let's dance our way over to one of my favorites, the Swiss. See, the Swiss is giving us a green today in the Hinky Asky bar over on Chicago Quant. I think we went into the buy yesterday. There we are. Yeah, we went into the buy yesterday. We got a volatility signal on Chicago Quant. You see it's there, that red and that green. And then we went into a daily buy yesterday. You can see this product has been in the 99-ish area. Went into the weekly sell, and you can see the daily with it. And you saw that pressure that it had. And it's still there. It's still there. I think that, many times the Swiss moves a lot different than a lot of the other pairs trades. And one of the nice things about the Swiss is it kind of gives us a flavor of, a flight to safety. So it's always fascinating to see, it break away from the euro and the cable and all the other pairs trades and kind of join in, playing against or with the dollar at times. It's very fascinating. In this case here, you can see it's losing against the dollar, and the dollar is gaining on a day-to-day basis. It's moving. It's the mirror image side of it, and you can see the weekly is buried pretty well down in Doc's math here, in the Chicago Quant math itself. So there's obviously pressure, and that trend obviously is still down. It's just a dead cat bounce. And you can see the daily trying to give a peak. Yesterday it jumped up, was still red, and then today it gives you the green, and now it's trying to tell you that the trend is more up. Underneath here is a volume indicator. One of our cyber traders here suggested it, and we've been watching it. We find it fascinating at times. I don't usually watch volume at all, but I do watch it through Dukascopy, and I find it interesting. And it's the the bid-ask ratio. So if anybody's wondering what that last thing is down at the bottom, I find it fascinating. All right, from there we roll over to the Turkish lira. It's almost like a live laboratory. It's like watching Dr. Frankenstein live. And you can see there, this thing has been parked at the 18. It freaked it out before. You can see there the high today is 1797. Yesterday's high was 1797. Day before that it was 1796 and change. So it's been just parked right on the 18. Let's widen this out a little bit. There we go. See, it went into the buy right there 4 days ago. Let's go buy in. Let's put one buy in there. So we'll go like that. There we are. Boy, it was in a long buy before that until it hit the sell. Right there. It was in a long buy from there all the way to there. And it's been in a weekly buy. This is the dollar pairs. It almost trades like an index. It's been in a buy now since February of this year. It has not fallen out of that trend. And that's why we call it the like it acts like an index. It just refuses to go into a sell. Obviously, whatever they're doing in Turkey, they should stop it. Their inflation now is like at 180%. It's crazy. And then when we go and look at the Euro Turkish lira, which we like to call location. Remember, they border Turkey, Europe, the European Union. They do a lot more trading probably physically than the Americans do, since we're 7,000 miles away. That means that's an increase in costs. And, there's probably tariffs and so forth that go on because of the European Union or England or something like that. Probably much less than having to deal directly with the United States. But you can see there in the Euro Turkish lira, went into a sell 2 days ago. Right there, where it had gone into the buy right there, and it was crazy. That's not real. I forget what that is. It really, the low is like right there, but went up, and we are in a weekly buy since back in here in that beginning move up. And you can see the daily started there. Whoa, no, I didn't mean to move that. There we are, right there. This is above the range at this point. I don't even know if there's no. Yeah, I guess there was a range at one time, and it kind of fell apart. They had started to give out put options, and that really stabilized the currency for a long while, for 5 or 6 months. And then in May, going into June, they'd done something wrong, and all that stabilization has kind of fallen apart. So, all we can say from all this is that it's not doing anything it was supposed to be doing, that's for sure. It's doing something else, and that is making it more expensive to live in Turkey. That's pretty much the name of the game there. Sorry, folks, that's what it is. So, that's the Euro-Turkish lira. From there, we slide over to the Canadian dollar pairs trade. The dollar, the Canadian dollar against the American dollar. And right there it is. You see it's kind of playing the top end of the range, which got a little past because of the inflation. But this product has stayed in that range for a couple of years. You see it there as we go back and back and back and back and back. You see it's just staying inside that range for a long time. So there we are. It's trying to lift up. It went into a daily buy yesterday, just as it went into a weekly sell on Friday. So it's trying to keep you safe. Kind of trapped, doing nothing, kind of neutralville. And I guess at this point in time, we just waiting to see where the first real clear signal of getting long or getting short. But right now, the trend is a chop. It's sideways. So, and you want to trade with the trend. And if you're trading with options or binaries, then it's a lot easier to break the rules because you have limited risk. But if you're not trading with binaries or options, then you're trading what we refer to in the trading pit as hard delta. Well, then obviously, in other words, the actual spot, then you got to be much more cautious on your decision-making process. All right, so let's put the Canadian up over on J4X. There's 2 days of the green there, just like us there. And that's basically just a moving average of prices. And you can see it's been a daily buy now for a couple more days than that, but until it turns green and this line gets above, not yet. Are we there yet, Nat? Are we there yet? And obviously, sometimes we're not. We're still in transport. So, Canadian acting very firm there, which is usually a sign of weak dollar. Not dollar, I'm sorry, oil, weak oil. Obviously, it's a sign of strong dollar. So let's check out just a quick look. Just a quick look. And it won't peel. Right there. You see, they took the oil down yesterday. And are they really lifting it today? Let's just double check. We're going to go over to J4X. Put up the American oil. Right there. Yep, it's up today. It is trying to get up. 89 and change. This contract expires, I think, by the end of the week. We'll be out of it probably by Friday for sure. And from there, we go over to, let's see, so there's the light. Oh, I wanted to look at one more machine myself. Oil, oil, oil. There it is. Yeah, oil is up 51 cents. So, usually when oil goes down in value, Canadian goes down against the dollar. It loses money against the dollar, and then vice versa. So you see there's some strength. We'll come back to the energy sector unless someone wants to discuss it or look at it. But we'll go drift back to the currencies, and from there we go to the South African rand. But we will stop. If anybody wants us to stop, we will go to the South African Rand and look at that today. And since, let's find it first. Right there. There it is. And we'll put it up over on J4X. Right there. You see the Rand is going up in value, so we have to assume the gold. Now that this is the flip side of gold, and this currency is even more accurate than the Canadian for oil. And that is that the gold must be going down in value, and we all know that it did. It fell from the 1820s area yesterday to 1785 or something like that. We'll just take a quick peek there. You see that? There it is. Had that nice drop, and it's doing it again today. We're seeing more pressure on the gold. We're in a weekly buy and in a daily sell. So there's no real clear direction at the moment. And South African Rand, excuse me, the South African Rand is trying to move up. So that's not too bad at all. You see that's giving you the warning sign that gold wants to go down. All right, indeed. So from there, we go back to, the ZAR. You see that? And being in a weekly sell, that's for all the metals traders. It's like, yeah, hey, this is a good sign. And I say, hey, yeah, you're right. And this might be just the beginning situation where this will start to climb. Gold will start to climb, and you'll find South African Rand get a red dot, and it'll be below the zero line, and it'll start to go down and maybe take out these lows over here. Can you see that? No, you can't see that. Let's do it again. These lows over here. From there, we drift over to 2222, the Japanese yen. There it is. The yen is trying to lift. Gave us a volatility signal yesterday, and they're giving it a nice little pop today. We've been in a weekly sell for, I guess, a couple of weeks. This is the fourth week starting. Sol had found a way to go down, make a low, and now it's doing the little bouncy bounce thing. Like I said, no markets like to move straight in a row. And let's take a look at it over there. Mr. and Mrs. Yen. There we are. See, it's all trying to get going there. Go, go, go. Let's see what the weekly looks like. And the weekly still on itself, just like it is here. See that? In this case here, it's good because all four of them now are in it. And you can see it's trying to turn up a little bit, little strength there, showing the pressure we're seeing itself on the daily. And obviously, it's trying to get into that daily buy today. And J4X may surprise you in a couple hours or towards the end of the day or going into tomorrow morning. That'll go green if this stays up like that. And last but not least, what we do is we go to the south of the border here in the States. We take a look at the Mexican peso. The Mexican peso. See, it's the second week in a sell. Right there. Bang. You see it's playing the bottom end of the range. That range has been going on for a couple of years also. As you see, it goes on and on. I guess if we increase over here time-wise, you can see. If we increase over there, it would be going on and playing in between these bounces. That was, I think that was Mr. Biden getting elected. They probably figured out things are going to get screwed up or something. No, I know what it was. Biden, Canada. Let's see. Biden, the Prime Minister of Canada, and the President of Mexico got together. Boy, that was a really freak show. So that just made it even crazier. But it calmed down. They probably, how when Biden says something and they walk it back like 10 minutes later or an hour later, the White House puts out a statement saying the opposite. They whatever he said to poor Mexico, they probably went over to the president of Mexico and said, "Hey, don't worry, be happy. We're not going to let this happen." And they go, "Oh," and they're probably scratching their heads like, "Wait a minute, but didn't the president of the United States just say that?" Yeah, but he's changed his mind already. He's sitting here. How do you know? Oh, we know. They walk back his stuff all the time. It's so funny to watch it happen. All right. And that completes us with the currencies. So that's pretty cool. Metho says, in September. Isn't that a song? Ooh. Metho says, 2000. Will the Fed push the S&P for Biden? I would think so. Yeah, I think their tendency is to be dovish. They have, they said in their minutes. Remember, the minutes get released, Wednesday? Tomorrow. So, remember, they said at the last meeting that they were going to look at certain things in September before they decide to do another rate increase. Now, the markets are kind of pricing in a 3/8 or something like that, or 3/4 or something like that. I haven't looked lately, but they are pricing something in. But they're probably going to change that tomorrow when they release the minutes of 6 weeks ago. When they release those minutes, then that'll change the story, and then they can stop pricing in that stuff. And that would not surprise me any. We'll see. Yeah, I would imagine so, because then the next one is. I think the meeting is November 2nd or 3rd. Let me think. The 8th is Tuesday. Monday is the 7th, 6th, and 5th. 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. Yeah. So the next meeting is I think November 3rd. 4 days before the election. So they will do their best to try not to interfere. They don't have much choice. The polls, I've been saying that. It's been so weird. I've never seen polls like this. I saw in 1979, going into 1980, the Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan polls, and they were wild. I mean, they were wild going into 1980, especially late 1980, mid 1980. And, it was showing that Reagan was probably going to win. And then, and I'm telling you, as bad as the polls were for Carter, and Reagan won, and also flipped the South Republican at the same time for the first time in 120 years. The polls today are 3 times worse, not like 3% worse, 3 times worse. I mean, Mr. Biden polls in some areas 18%. With independents, he polls 95% want to vote against him. He gets like 5% of the independents now. Normally, usually it's the other way around. It's usually 50-50 or 45-55. I mean, it's ugly. It's ugly. It's like 100% worse. With Hispanics, same thing. It's just as bad. It's with the African American community. You never know with them. But in the end result is that it's bad compared to what it normally is. It's towards the Ronald Reagan numbers again. So, and Ronald Reagan won the African American community by 44%, I think it was. So I know he won, but he got 44% of the African American community. 44%, right around there. So this election, the question is not that the Republicans, are they going to win? The question is how much by what they're going to win. So people are actually handicapping it like you are. You're trying to handicap it, saying, hey, will they raise in September? More than likely not. And will they raise in November? Well, it won't matter, because by then the polls will be so clear that so many people are so upset that they won't be able to hide it the last couple of days anyway. So that's probably that's usually when the polls become right. In other words, the general media will report things inaccurate all the way until like the last 3 or 4 days, and then they start to flip them around because they don't want to look too stupid. And they're doing it for, propaganda reasons to begin with, to give you the bad polls, fake polls. So in this case here, more than likely not, and we'll learn that tomorrow, and then they'll reprice the short-term money, the Fed funds rate and all that. And then what'll happen is they'll probably prop it up again for like 3/4 or something like that again. And then when November comes around on November 3rd, more than likely they will probably raise rates or do something like that because they don't have any choice. But we'll see. We shall see. But that's how it always plays out. And like I said, I've never seen polls like this before. That's why we knew something was really weird with Trump. The polls were saying that he was going to win in the states that he lost, which was really strange. And then when they had all those, after midnight, 1 a.m, bullet voting going on where nobody got votes but Biden, not even the local mayor or the local congressman or the local councilman or councilwoman or whatever. All there was votes put in there for Biden, nobody else. So, hence the Republicans took big majorities everywhere in the country, minus, him. Also, I'll leave this with you too, which is kind of crazy. He got more votes than any sitting president in history. That's kind of strange too. Let's see, where do we go from here? So we go to the metals complex. Let's go check out gold and silver and so forth. And there's gold. Ooh, that's the weekly. You can see the pressure on it. Let's put it up over here. And there it is, gold. Both trying to show the downwardly pressure on the daily, and you can see on J4X how it was in the buy. It's in the buy here at the same time. Go take a look at it again. Here it is. It's been screaming for 3 full weeks, going on the 4th. Buy, 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 buy. No golden day for gold. Now, but it's not that bad. I'm really surprised that gold's not up today. But I don't know. The Federal Reserve has that. We talked about this yesterday about the CDOs and the short-term money and gold and the QE and why it is. Matter of fact, we probably should have thrown that in there. Gold, oil, CDOs with QE. That's pretty much what it should have been said yesterday, and that's part of the rule. Part of that situation. We will see later today. With gold, yeah. Remember yesterday I told you when they were selling the market down? I said don't be panicked. Unless that Dow drops about 2.5%, 3%, it's not even worth watching. In the sense of thinking that it's a trend change. It takes a lot to change the trend now, and so it was down about 1.5%, something like that, close to 2%. And it was like, and it was like, don't worry. I said, and then I reminded everybody at the end of the webinar, hey, don't be surprised if you find it plus by the end of the day. And of course it was. Being 1.5% or 2% down is not a major trend in a day now. It's got the volatility of like oil, oil can be like, 3% down for the day, and the next thing you know, it closes down like a 0.5 percentage point. And the next day it goes into the buy. And the next thing you know, it's up 2 percentage points. It's like, wait a minute. Wasn't it almost like in a daily bear market? With quantitative easing? All those ideas and concepts of old are gone. I'm not counting ever since the creation of listed options, listed binaries. Ever since then, forget about it. Just like they say in the mob, forget about it. All right. So from gold, we'll take a look at silver. Right there. Silver looking identically the same. The pressure is on. But also that's in 3 weeks. This is the 3rd week of a weekly buy there. So that pressure is also, popping along there. Let's take a look at it on J4X. There it is, right there. You can see this is the 4th day in the daily, 4th weekly buy, week of weekly buy. There you can see ours is in 3, and that line moved up. Let's see, that one. Let's see, what is that? This is the 17th. That one was the 29th. That is the 24th. Okay. And then going to the daily. You see it's trying to get the second say. Today is the first day of the red. See it's been under for a couple days. Right there and right there. Now it's confirming the sell action now. And that is silver. And from there, oh, what's this? I bought that Majestic Silver Corp yesterday. Oh, really? Is that a stock? Metho, is that a stock? Majestic Silver Corp. Let me look it up. Housing starts cratered today. Look at that. Another big blast in Crimea. They're getting the tools. They're going to push them out of the Crimea, I think. And then let's where was I wanted to go? Oh, let's go to let's see if let me go and see if that's a stock. If it is, we can try to take a look at it here. Majestic Silver Corp. First Majestic Silver Corp. Is that it? Around $8 a share. Let's see if we can find it. Let's check it out. See, traders, this is what we like to do. We like to go where no other trader's gone before. We like to look up different products. Maybe I'll buy some. Maybe it's a do. I never know. I mean, there's so many products out there. You know, it's so hard to say. You know, I follow my classic group, but you know, what should we replace? There's our Uber Duber. And it's good. Changes the game from GameStop. I think I used to follow AJ. Wasn't that the South African company at one time? Yeah, I have it in there. See that? There we are. Oh, isn't that cool? So it went into a buy there. Let's widen this stuff out for you. Whoa, missed that daily. Let's go bring that daily down. Put it down on right there. Now let's do that again. There we go. And then there's the weekly. So that's pretty cool. Went into, how about that? The line is in the right spot for that. Not that one though. So it was in a, wow. Let's move that back. Let's tighten this up a little bit. Go back to look at the history. And that's in a sell until right, not there, but right there. Went to the weekly buy like 3.5 weeks ago. Let's just show you what's going on there. So there's this, that move that sell over to there. One more. There we go. There's a sell there. You see it broke down. There's a daily sell there. It's like not there. Is it there? Yeah, there. So went into the daily sell right there at the top. And a couple days later, it got into the weekly sell, and it was smack-a-doodle city from 13.5, 13 3/4 down to what a crush. They did look at that dead cat bounce for a day or two, right there. Dead cat bounce. Wow. Maybe it's the day before that even. Yeah, it's plus there too, so it's one more day before. Went into the dead cat bounce there. Boy, wouldn't you like to have taken that short? Yum. Yum, yum. And that product has come down from 14, and you were in there buying in the 6s and 7s. Smooth. Metho, smooth. Oh, you paid $7.90. Cool. Yeah. If we've been watching that, you might have been in the low 7s. Why didn't you mention that you were watching something like that? We could watch it together. Went into the daily buy at, what did it go in the daily buy at? 713. Cool. And it got through the weekly buy a couple days later up in here, 3 days later. And so, yeah, look at that. Been playing in that zone, and now it's popped it again. And I will buy more if the price goes down. Hey, if this thing gets into a daily sell and a weekly buy and then gets back into a daily buy, load the boat, brother. Load the boat. Yeah, it's trying to do it today. Look at that. It's trying to get back into the buy now. It's slid. It's been in the daily sell since, let's see, right there. Yeah. Let's move one of these reds over. Went into the daily sell there and gave us a volatility signal right there. And it's trying to lift. This is a pre-market already. I remember this stock. I could have sworn this used to be part of the old South African conglomerate or something like that. Or is it the Canadian one? It's one or the other. I kind of remember something, AG. They traded options on the American Stock Exchange. I remember that. I bet you do. I bet you do. I don't think you're wrong about that. I think you should every so often remind me and we'll go take a look at it. Because look at that. That looks like lots of fun. I mean, like lots and lots of fun. Is that a plus there? Let's see what that is. Yeah, that's a plus. It goes into a buy there. Boy, that really failed. But then you're in the weekly sell, so you don't want to fool with it to begin with. And it's been in a weekly sell for, look how long it was in a weekly sell. I mean, it was in a weekly sell all that long length all the way up to right here. You know, we would have been looking at that. I would have been saying to you, look at like this. Here, look at the weekly and with the ghost line. Look at that. You can see the green and the blue both turning the corner, breaking through the manifold there. This getting through the zero line. Right there, I'd be like, oh my God, you got to be long. 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 Oh, I'd have been like right there. I'm going to put a little circle there. No, I'll put a little square there. With the two of them going like that. Oh yeah, I'd have been like, gotta be long, gotta be long, gotta be long. I would have been saying stuff like, buy some calls, do some binaries, do some binaries. I would have been like, oh yeah, free money, baby. And it did. What did it do? It went from 730s to, what's the high there now? 845. It would have made almost $1 American dollar. Yo. What is that? 12% move in like a week. Money. Cool. Too cool for school. I just got to... Oh, that's stupid Apple News. I turn that off. So, I guess that's good there. All right, where were we? We were looking at silver, raw silver. Let's go over to copper. Let's see what Mr. and Mrs. Copper are doing today. Ooh, let me go back to that real quick and save it. Next thing I know, I'm rebuilding it again. There we go. Now let's, where was I at? Oh yes, copper. Let's check out the copper. There's copper. And they pushed it into the sell yesterday. And it's trying to get going on a day-to-day basis. But look at it. You know, we're in the weekly from last week. So obviously you don't take the short. Forget that. Forget about that. And I would say, you know, copper's starting to cool off a little bit in the sense of, I don't know, you know, I'm interrupting myself. I saw bad news again on China this morning. Financial. I was saying this to somebody in Europe yesterday on my Facebook. We talk about physics and mathematics and all like that, and he was saying something about the clowns in Washington. I said, yeah, I know. And he was saying something about China. I hope China doesn't do this. And I was like, you don't have to worry about it. China's not going to hurt Taiwan. They're just going to bluster themselves because Taiwan is so much more armed with U.S. weapons than Ukraine was. I mean, remember, Mr. Obama gave them blankets. Russia invaded Crimea, and Mr. Obama sent in blankets. That's right, blankets and I think food. That's what he did. He gave them no weapons. It wasn't until Trump became president that he was actually starting to sell them weapons. That's why they tried to impeach him, because they said that he was blackmailing them or something like that. They didn't like the idea. The Democrats don't like the idea of loading up Crimea with weapons because they were part of the Russian Federation. They support the Russian Federation. You ever see that YouTube where was it Milanovic or something like that, or was it? There's a conference and Mr. Obama is meeting with the president of Russia at the time, and back then Mr. Putin was prime minister, and he says, you haven't. Mr. Putin's looking for a call, and he says, "Oh, I'll give him a call, but I got to wait until after the election. We can't talk until after the election. I don't want anybody to know." He says something like that. He says, you can hear it verbally. He says it. You see him visually saying it. You can read his lips saying it. And he says, I'll get back to him. Let him know that I'll get back to him. I'm still with him. So copper, I'm about copper. They talk too much of copper. I need a better price. Yeah, copper is feeling the pain of China. That's what I think. China's really on the ropes. I understand somebody sold $25 billion. Let me see if I can find the story. I think I posted it. Let's see. Where is it at? I saw it. $25 billion was sold. Let's see. Going smoothly melting up. Goldman, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Nuclear hydro, blah, blah, blah. I saw something. $25 billion was sold in tech companies in China over the last couple of days. I'm going to find that story. And I think that's the answer to copper. When you see weakness in the Chinese economy, it puts a lot of pressure on China, or vice versa, on copper. Every time you see that, where is it at? Still scrolling. I think I'm getting close. Here it is. Foreigners sold a record amount of U.S. stocks in the last 12 months. China dumped more than USTs in June. According to the latest data, where was the 21 billion story I read? That's not it. There's another one out there. Let me try another one. How about that? So what are they saying here? According to this data on Treasury International's flows, are they worried about that? Oh, okay. Foreigners sold 231 billion in the past 12 months. That's a year. That's nothing. Let's see. Foreigners have sold U.S. stocks for the last 6 months, consecutive months. Okay. Yeah, there was a story. Let me find it. I think I posted it. Let me see if I posted it. Usually I post every Chinese story. This way I can go back to it. Nomura, they said Nomura. No, I didn't post it. Nomura said something about a option expiration at the end of this week could be pretty volatile. Let's see if we can find that story. But yeah, I think the only way you look at copper is that when you're looking at copper, you gotta pay attention to the Chinese economy, because I think that's the biggest player. Now, you have to imagine, like today, look at this headline. Let me just get away from this and go to, let's move this over. The first headline in Zero Hedge. Well, there it is right there. Right there. Housing starts crater in July as bottom falls out of the market. And so, excuse me. So normally when you see like housing starts and stuff like that, that's the economic tool. And since they like to build in China a lot, obviously housing starts and so forth are really important to try to follow copper, because they use the copper and PVC and so forth for the houses. And in this case here, in the United States, the housing starts really drop. So you would assume that would put pressure on the, let's move this out of the way now, out of copper. But no, copper is actually higher today than it was yesterday. So it's actually moving up. So it's kind of a, it's a kind of odd thing that goes on there. Let's see, where's copper right there? There you go. And copper, you can see on J4X is up also. So, other metals, I only buy super cheap. I have a lot of metals. I hear you. There's that article. I want to find that article. They said they sold 25 billion of tech companies in China. They named who it was. They named the fund that sold that much. Let's see if I can find it before the webinar is over with. I think it's well worth paid. The only way you can learn about the Chinese market is through like reports of actual capital flow. You can't trust their numbers, so you're kind of stuck in that situation where you have to just, just hunt down, just hunted down dramatically in the financial news. You got to look for different reports to kick out, and it was 25 billion in tech stocks. I didn't read the article. I figured I'd get back to it, and I never did. The webinar started, and I didn't even post it. That's the worst part. Usually I post it. That's what, and this way I can go back and look at it and refer to it and so forth. I see foreign sold stock next. Wow, it must be way down. Manufacturing. Let's see. Maybe I can Google it and find it, and I'll find it for tomorrow. Yeah, 25 billion. That's what caught my eye. I mean, it's one thing to sell like $500 million worth of stock, but 25 billion in China, that's a big number in China. In America, that's just noise. All right, traders, we're out of here. We will catch you all tomorrow on Happy Hump Day, and we'll find that article. So everybody be safe, be smart, and we will catch you tomorrow. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders.